G'day guys and welcome to episode 35 of the Bradley J. Dryburgh Experience. If you've been with us for 35 episodes, I want to thank you so much. Or if you're here for your first or one of just a few, thank you all the same. It's an absolute pleasure to continue hosting these. And I'm excited because today's guest is, well, a very talented human being. She resides in Melbourne, Australia, which was my home for a few months. And she's very different to all of our guests prior. Very artistically talented and specializing in geometric illustration, which we'll talk about soon, collaborating with brands like Kia, Barbie, Richmond Tigers, The Block. She's done so much in her very young career. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Dominique Gauci. How are you, Dom?
Hello, how are you? Thanks for having me.
It's my pleasure. Did I say your last name right?
You didn't. It's actually, but no one does. It's Gauci.
Gauci.
Which is like, the best way to remember it is like saucy, like a saucy hot dog.
I like it. I like it. There you go. You've heard it here first. You've heard it firsthand. Where's that from?
Malta. So
Okay.
why? I mean, I've only met one other Gauci. Everyone else has been Gauci. So there's like a lot of people tend to make that mistake anyway. And I just don't even bother correcting people anymore. So it's
I
fine.
kind of thought a bit Spanish maybe.
Oh, no.
That was my thought. Maltese. Okay, there you go. And how have you been?
Good. This has been like, obviously a lot of people are struggling right now with coronavirus, but it's been quite good for my business. I think we have literally quadrupled in the last 4 or 5 months, which is
That's
awesome.
amazing.
Yeah, it's really good.
Yes.
So 2020 is my year, I think, or I'm looking at it that way anyway. So
Hey, the right mindset is key.
Exactly right.
You know what surprises me? Obviously, I first heard of you and seen your work when I was down in Melbourne there. And I love your stuff. Like, I've loved your stuff for a long time and I always wanted to get a piece. And it was when I was sort of sitting down and I thought, I really need to spice the podcast art up. Like, because it was a little bit ghetto at first. It's still a little bit ghetto because I haven't released a new art that you gave me. But it was just kind of like, it was like almost like a Snapchat Bitmoji that I kind of edited up myself and
what it was. It's cool. It's a good start, especially like if you're not artistic. You can, like, my mum has that Bitmoji thing and it looks exactly like her.
Yeah.
It's good.
So it played its part, but I was like, I really need to spice this up and I want something different. And that's what I love about your work is it is so different that I'd never really seen anything like it before. And I didn't even know how to explain it to people. And then I seen on your Insta that it's geometric illustration. So we're going to talk a little bit about that soon, but your name keeps popping up. Like, I've mentioned you to a few people that you're coming on the podcast and that you're doing my art for me. And heaps of people seem to know what you're doing and they know your stuff. One of my mates got one of your pieces like three or so weeks ago, Chris Powell.
Oh, nah, I don't know. Maybe, did you order through the website or you get a custom?
I think you ordered through the website. I don't think it was a custom. So
let me guess, you got
Michael.
Did you get Michael?
I can't remember what he got now. I think it might have been MJ or something. Or might have been Kobe.
Oh yeah, Kobe is my second most popular and MJ is my first.
How does Rodman go?
He's all right. Like, so I did, I had done Michael Jordan like a year and a half ago before the documentary. And then when the doco came out, it just went off. Yeah. But everyone was like, you got to do a Pippen and a Rodman. So I did both of them. Pippen barely sold. Rodman is like, he's going off as well. Not as much as MJ, but he still sells really well.
Yeah, he's the guy. I dyed my hair leopard print for that guy.
I love him. I think he's so cool. I love that he went on a bender to Vegas for like 4 days and then came back and trained completely fine.
Yeah, and played perfectly. It's funny, isn't it? Funny how these athletes work.
I like that.
I'm really interested to hear your story because it intrigues me initially. Like, how old are you now?
27. I had to really think about that then.
You do. Once you're past 21, it's all a blur, right?
Well, I feel like I didn't have a birthday this year because I was in ISO. So I just forgot about it. But yeah, 27.
And so how long have you been doing this for?
I would say it's been officially registered for 4 years, but I probably only have been putting effort into it properly for like 2.5 years.
Okay.
Yeah, the first like 2 years was sort of like on the side, just doing it for fun, making some extra cash. And then the last 2.5 years, I sort of formed it into like more of a business.
That makes sense because that's probably when I first heard of you, that sort of 2.5 years ago, which
Yeah,
is, I think, kind of when I was maybe in Melbourne is probably
yeah,
when you just started pushing it. So
yeah.
how does this all come about? Because I know most most artists are artistic growing up. Was that the case for you?
Yeah, I was pretty artistic, but I was also a very good writer. And I had this
Okay.
like struggle in my life. I was like, I want to be a writer because I know I'm good at it, but I also love doing art. So I wasn't sure. And initially I was like, I'm going to do writing because I thought I would make more money from it. And I just didn't know much about like artists. And I kind of thought like when you think of artists, like I don't really think of rich artists. I think of like struggling artists. And yeah, anyway, when I went to university, I started off doing something in writing, transferred into communication design because I thought it was more, you could mix artwork with like advertising and publication design. And anyway, I loved it so much. And I realized, yeah, then that I was going to be more towards the art direction. Like it
That's
made me
cool.
happy.
How much importance and weight does happiness hold when you're actually
One,
figuring out what you want to do, right?
100%. Like I don't know if it's like my personality trait, but like I won't do anything that doesn't make me happy. Like I actually physically can't do it. Trying to do maths or science or whatever, like I don't care how much money it can make you. I can't do it. I won't. I refuse.
I got to the same point. Like I just got to a point where in real estate, I felt like it was more so serving like, I guess, an inner greed or like an inner want to be financially free and not,
Yeah.
I guess, not to be just like wealthy and have all these material things, but more so just to have financial freedom. And I was kind of like, what's financial freedom if you don't have happiness? And I had to reverse engineer it.
Yeah, 100%. And then I'm like a very strong believer now. I wasn't back in the day, but whatever you do, if you're doing what makes you happy, the money will come. And that has
100%.
me as well. So you can make money as an artist as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, originally, like when I first, was a bit younger, I was like, oh, doctor, lawyer, that's how you make money. But like I'd be miserable if I was a
Yeah.
lawyer. Miserable.
100%. So you obviously studied at uni, you transferred over, and then when you finished uni, what was the next step?
So interesting again. When I finished uni, like the communication design, a part of me was like, I didn't give writing a go. I might do my master's in journalism. And so
Okay.
random. Anyway, I ended up, I wanted to go to a university in America, and it had been like my dream my whole life. I just wanted to go over there and study, and I applied to do like one of my semesters at Columbia. So you couldn't do it through exchange. So Columbia University in New York.
That's a big uni too, hey?
Yeah, it was a great one. But I had applied for it thinking that I wouldn't get in, and I got in. So I went and studied in New York and did journalism in New York,
Wow.
and I was doing it, I don't know, like for however many weeks. And then I started to be like, I actually hate this. Like, it didn't matter where I was. Like, I didn't care about like it being Ivy League. I got more happiness. I found I could design or draw for 8 hours and it would feel like it'd been 30 minutes or an hour.
Yeah.
But when I was doing all the writing assignments, if it was 8 hours, it felt like 8 hours. And then that's when I knew I was like, no, I can't. I've completely crossed it out now. But it was a really good experience, regardless.
So how long did you stay there for?
So I was in New York for, I think it was about 3 to 4 months doing that
Are you so
journalism.
glad that you've had that experience? Like, especially looking at the world now, You were almost more appreciative of all those opportunities we had to travel in past, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, if I hadn't have gone, if I hadn't have done that, I wouldn't have actually started my business because I don't. Do you know the story about how I started in New York?
No,
No. Oh, it's like kind of like my general
share.
backstory. I did a challenge of doing a drawing a day when I was in my dorm room. I had this tiny little dorm room. I swear to God, it's the size of my actual bathroom now. And I used to sit on my ledge and I did this drawing of Leonardo DiCaprio. When I used to do it in the lines, like the hand drawn lines.
Yes, yeah.
And yeah, and I posted it on my Snapchat or something because Snapchat was massive back then. And I reckon I had like 50 people reply saying, you need to sell this. This is really cool. So I started doing more from there. And then when I came back to Melbourne, I started to like make an Instagram, put them up, and people started buying them. And that's how it kind of like evolved from there.
That's cool. That's really
Yeah,
cool. That's so
pretty cool.
natural. And I feel like that's the power of the world we live in today, right? Where you can put out content on social and it can literally be the start of something amazing.
Literally, that's what happened. So I'm like so thankful for that experience because like going to try this journalism thing, it actually was the best thing I ever did in the sense that it made me start my business like without knowing it.
How old were you when you come home?
23.
Okay, so
23.
yeah. So that's basically when you started and then you spent that next 2 years kind of side hustling with it.
Yes, exactly right. So I was doing it for fun and just like selling it to friends and whatever. And then I was working in a social media startup, like a content creation advertising startup. And like, I just wasn't happy. I can't be told what to do. Like, so I
I'm
had
the same. I struggle with authority like that.
same. I'm like, I don't know if it's a Taurus thing. So I'm really stubborn. But I just had always like, if someone tells me what to do, I will be like, no, I will do it in my own time. And anyway, so I kind of had some clashes with my boss, who was amazing. Like he was pretty supportive of me having my side business. And then one day we just kind of like realized it wasn't going to work anymore because I couldn't take his authority and he just knew I was needed to do other things. So I left and then just started putting a little bit more effort into it. And then it just evolved from there.
That's cool. And so so obviously you said the first initial sales started with like those line drawings.
Mm-hmm.
Where did it sort of come into the piece that you were like is geometric illustration, is that a title that you've put on something that you've created, or is it something that is kind of like something that happens in the industry already?
I'm not too sure. Like I remember I had started I think I'd done a project at uni and I needed to do some sort of drawings and I was Pinterest searching like tigers, images of tigers or artworks of tigers that
Yeah.
were digital graphic. And I saw this stuff like geometric shapes. And obviously geometric means like, the
Yeah.
shapes. And I started experimenting with it then and I thought it looked really cool. And I hadn't really seen anything like it, on Instagram or that anyone I knew was doing anything like it. So it just kind of, evolved from there, starting. I don't know if I could claim the title, but I think I'm definitely in Melbourne or Australia. Like I have utilized that geometric,
Definitely.
style.
And so like you're in Melbourne now, and Melbourne's in like Melbourne's a big place. I was in Elwood when I was there, which I loved.
I live in Elwood.
Oh, do ya?
Yeah, I live in Elwood. I have for like 6 years.
Don't give your address away on Zoom. But
Oh,
I used to live in Joyce Street, and I thought it was the most amazing little spot. Do you know Joyce Street?
no, is it?
So
I'm
do you know where what's the main road again?
Ormond Road,
Ormond
like
Road.
the.
Yeah. So you got Ormond Road, and then Ormond Road heads south towards the dog park, which is on St Kilda Street.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
on St Kilda street. I won't say what number, but I'm
Okay,
on
yeah,
second.
don't. Joyce is like a little cul-de-sac that runs just off Ormond Road, just before the roundabout
I
on
know exactly.
Sunshine. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I know exactly.
I lived in a little like brick building there, and it was
Not
probably the most. Pardon?
remember Ryan? Was it Fish?
Yeah,
Fish.
Fish. I lived around the corner from Fish.
Oh my God, that's so funny. We're all
Yeah,
in the same
in that little same
section.
section. And so I loved it. Like I thought it was
Elwood's
amazing.
the best.
I probably just wasn't in I wasn't in the right headspace. I was away from my family. I was away from my mates. I basically just worked. And so I
Yeah.
didn't really feel like I enjoyed my time living in Elwood. But I was going to ask, like, did you grow up around that area or did you come further into the city?
No, so I grew up in Elsternwick and then came to Elwood.
Oh,
So
wow.
I have not left this vicinity, but I love Elwood. Like I could live here the rest of my life. And I'm not just saying that because I'm like born and raised in this area. Like my partner, he lives in South Yarra and I'm there, 3 nights a week,
Yeah.
4 nights a week, and it's not the same.
It's almost, for me, it felt very Wollongong. Like it's a tight-knit community. Like for someone who was only there, I think I lived there for 8 or 9 months.
Mm-hmm.
And I would go down a plain sailing every morning, grab a
Yeah.
coffee. And like, I just felt like I was a part of the community. I knew people. There was plenty of people to have a yarn. And there's kind of some like low key, like celebs that are just getting around. Like, Magda.
Oh, Sabansky or
Yeah,
is that?
from Kath and Kim.
Yeah.
I used to see her nearly every morning getting a coffee at plain sailing.
Really? You know who I see? Eric Banner at the dog park. You know
Really?
Eric?
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
that's
He's got a
it.
massive deal. Yeah,
Yeah, wow. It's a cool spot, isn't it? Like it brings together a real mix of human beings.
yeah. I love it.
Have
Never
you ever been
leaving.
this way? Have you ever been to Wollongong?
Like, have I driven through it?
Have you actually
No,
stopped?
no, no. I'm
I'm,
not. I think. Are you near Echuca? I'm gonna sound really geographically dumb now,
I'm in
but
another state.
oh my God.
So I'm in New South Wales.
Okay.
So do you
All
know where
right.
Sydney is? You know where Sydney is?
Yeah.
So you've got, and then say like Cronulla.
Yeah.
So if you head like probably 50 minutes south of Cronulla along the coast, that's Wollongong. So it's like
Okay.
a little population of probably 400,000 people. So it's kind of like a small city, but
Nice.
Dom, I could be the Wollongong travel advocate. I think this place is amazing. I think if you like Elwood, you'd
Okay.
love Wollongong. You have to come
Well,
for a couple of
I'll
days.
have a road trip for sure.
Definitely, definitely. So let's head back. We veered off there, but how much does that help? Like growing up and living in the same area when you've come back from New York and setting up your business, was a lot of it because you have a great social following. Like DG Designs on Instagram has an amazing following, and you've built a very powerful brand. And I want to talk about some of those collaborations a little later. But where
Yeah.
did you start? You obviously were putting stuff out on Snapchat. IG comes across. How do you have
Yeah.
success there?
It was literally all Instagram. Honestly, I don't even think I had a website for the first 6, 7 months, and then like I'd be happy if I made a sale a day or a sale every 3 days when
Yeah.
I first started, because I had a full-time job, so I didn't really, think much about it. But yeah, it was all Instagram to start. And then as, time went on, like probably I'd say in the last year and a half, or maybe even a little bit longer, I've been doing advertising. So a lot of Facebook marketing, as well as events. I think I'm literally the only artist, well, that I know of, that does like not just gallery launches, but like proper fun events with PR. And, we've got, a guest list that they organize, and it's more of like a fun party as opposed to just like
Yeah.
oh,
Try to
here's
sell
a
you a
gallery.
piece. Yeah.
Yeah, it's more just for exposure, and I think that sort of helped build the following, as well as I can't believe how many friends have bought my work. That's how it started, friends buying it. But
Yeah.
then friends are your biggest fans because they'll refer you to other people. It just goes on and on and on from
Yeah.
there. Yeah.
I
So I
say all
think
the time, like friends and family are so important in small business. Even for
100%.
me now, like I obviously don't make money for people listening to the podcast. I make it off the back of ads and off the back
Mm.
of deals. But my my family, if you ask them what's Brad's podcast like, they will tell you that there's Joe Rogan and there's Brad Dryburgh, like he's the guy. And like they're just so supportive, same as my mates. But that's where it starts because it's got to start somewhere, right?
Yeah, exactly right. Like I think everyone I know has a print of mine. It's so funny. Like the business has grown in such a way now that I have friends telling me that they've been to friends that I don't know and they see the artwork at other people's
Yeah.
houses. And sometimes I'll be on Instagram and I'll go through stories and people I barely know, I'll see the artwork in the background. I'm like, oh my God,
Yeah.
that's so cool.
See,
So
that's the thing I like about your art, and this is another topic that I wanted to discuss. Is I think because it's very pop culture,
mm,
it's the sort of thing that everyone can get around. Where you get, say like a Kandinsky or a like a Dina Broadhurst, which I love all that stuff, but it's so specific and it's such a specific
yeah,
style of art that it's kind of not the thing that everyone's going to purchase. It's kind of someone's style, where this is the sort of piece and what you do where everyone's got that nostalgic moment from their childhood or something that fires them up or motivates them, like an MJ or a Kobe, where you stick that on the wall and you wake up and that's the first thing you see in the morning, or like that's in your space or it's in your lounge room. It gives off a vibe that most people want to get around. So was the whole pop culture thing, was that you expressing yourself? Was it more so identifying what customers would want?
um, it's varied. When I started, like I was doing more things that I preferred. So obsessed with Leonardo DiCaprio, like love him.
Best,
Um,
hey, he's one of my three people that I'd have at a dinner if I could.
oh, he's my celebrity hall pass.
Okay.
Not that I love him, but still. Um, anyway, yeah, so I had done like Leo and then I'd done Karl Lagerfeld and Anna Wintour and sort of like prints that I would have in my own house. And then as time went on, so many of my customers, like I put out polls all the time, what do you want to see? And they'll come back to me with what they want. So I've done a lot of NBA prints because like all the
Yeah.
basketballers go off. And then I've found like at the start, it was a bit more fashion focused, but now it's gone into more sports because I'm finding that my biggest buyers are women buying for their husbands or their boyfriends and stuff. So it's more male dominated prints now, but it's funny that women are the biggest buyers, which is kind of, it's cool. Like I think my artwork is good as a present as well as something for yourself if you wanted to treat yourself.
Definitely. Yeah, I agree with
Yeah.
that. I agree with
Yeah.
that. So you've obviously, there's obviously a huge American sports culture amongst a lot of the art that you do. I've seen like the Odell one was really cool. Like I've seen you do some amazing pieces. But then I start to see like, obviously starting to create quite a brand in Australia. That's where you're based. And
Yeah.
in Melbourne, especially the sports culture around the AFL. You've done deals with Richmond Tigers. I've seen the massive Rafa Nadal piece for Kia at the Australian Open, which I just thought was amazing. Talk to me about those collaborations and how they come about.
Yeah. So I've been pretty lucky in the sense that a lot of brands are coming to me as opposed, I feel like in the times that I don't know if it's like some weird universe thing, but when I reach out, the response is never like, oh yeah, we want to work with you straight away. But then I get these amazing brands that just come to me. So I
Yeah.
think with Richmond, they found the girl who does, like, she does all the social media. She had been following me and I think she had bought some prints and she
Okay.
suggested it to Richmond and then they loved it. So we got in contact and then yeah, I think I did Dustin Martin, Tom Lynch, and someone else. Anyway, they went off. They posted it on their socials, and I just had so many new like Richmond fans following me,
Yeah.
and I go for Richmond, obviously.
Yeah.
That's not my painting, by the way. And yeah, it was really amazing to see like what the response of that was, just in terms of like growing my following as well.
Definitely. That's super interesting to me, because I guess it then opens you up to a new market. Like each of these podcasts do, you get someone, you get a new guest on who specializes in, something, whether they're an athlete or an artist like yourself, or musician, comedian, all of a sudden some of their following come across and kind of like what you do and stick around for the ride. So talk to me
Yeah.
about the block. How did that affect the business? Because I would think people who are interested in leveling up their homes, styling, renovating, I would think that would be a huge play for your business.
Yeah, so that was amazing. I remember like I got so excited. I had it on my vision board at the start of the year that I wanted to get on the block, and
Yeah.
I think I reached out to the block shop, or I had tried to get in contact with them, and I got no response. And I was like, oh, God damn it. This always happens when I try to do something. And then my partner said that his mum, who owns a cafe, one of the old block contestants always goes in. And she just happened to be there one day. And he introduced me to her, and she was like, oh, I'll just connect you right away to the people who can help you. And literally within a day, they had like stocked all my artwork in the store. And then the next day, Mitch and Mark, who the house that it was in, had picked the Kate Moss print and put it in the house. And that was insane. Like, I think there was like, they called it the Kate Moss room, the judges. They loved it. They did not stop talking about it. And I was like, oh my God, this is insane.
Hey, how nerve-wracking is that? Like,
It was crazy.
yeah.
But, I don't know if I'm allowed to tell you yet. It might be on the DL, but I'll just tell you anyway. The new block that's coming up in Brighton. So one of the contestants they've finished it now. They've finished filming. She has 13 prints in the new
Oh,
house.
wow. Okay.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
So the next season is going to be massive for my business, in terms of like people are going to see in every room basically DG artwork.
How much of that was custom?
I think there was 5 customs along the hallway, and then the rest was like Michael Jordan, Lady Gaga, Kris Jenner. They wanted to have like boss people in the back room. And then we did some other, I did a dog for her because she really missed her dog from Sydney.
Okay.
So yeah, it's exciting. I think that will be really good for business.
Has there been a piece for you that you look back on and, okay, I'm going to ask you, I'm going to create a couple parts of this question here. Has there been a piece that you look back on and it's your favorite to date? Has there been a piece that you look back on where you think that's changed the course of your business? And has there been a piece that you think you'd like to do in the future that would push you in a new direction altogether?
Yes. Okay. So the piece that I think changed the business is definitely the Michael Jordan, but it didn't happen until the documentary came out.
Okay.
So Kanye West used to be my biggest seller by far, like miles ahead. And then that doco came out, and like MJ has completely surpassed that, and like taken the business to a new level in terms of revenue. Like, it's been insane.
That's so good to hear. Can I quickly interject there and say, if Kanye does become the president of the United States, maybe there's a play there where you put him in a suit and tie and like
100. I love that.
That could be a business power move in here. Because let's be honest, anything is popular and like anything could work or happen in America right now. Yeah. And I feel like that would go insane.
100%. I'm waiting for next year. The Tom Brady doco comes out, and I've already done a Tom Brady. So I'm like, I just need to pair up with Netflix or something and see what's coming out. But Back to your original question, the Kate Moss piece, the one that was in the blog, that is still my favorite. I think it's because it is more fashion, and that is
That's the
what I,
Vogue piece, isn't it?
yeah, the Harper's Bazaar one. So
Oh, the Bazaar piece, yeah.
yeah. So I love that piece. I've got that in my bedroom now. And then the third question, which I kind of can't remember, but it was something
Yeah,
about,
the
is there
third question is there a piece you want to do that you think in the future will change the course of the business, or just something that is a creative outlet for you?
yeah, look, uh, it's difficult because I've kind of toyed with starting not a new brand, but maybe even doing different styles of artwork. Like
Okay.
to a point where I will get bored of doing geometric designs, because
Yeah.
at the moment I'm getting like 20 to 30 custom pieces a month, which all take like 4 to 5 hours. And
Yeah.
that means that I have to be doing at least one or two a day, as well as focusing on, the whole getting all the
Operation.
orders ready. Yeah, the operational side and the admin side and the invoicing and stuff. And, you know, if I get stuck, I'll get resentful. So I have thought about venturing out, whether it's like including the geometric with like a mixture of photography, or like using glitter, or like I just want to get creative again, but I need to reserve some time to try and develop that and sort of put it out
Yeah.
my audience and see what they want to see as well.
That's cool. I like that. Talk to me
Yeah.
about one thing that really interests me is, like, you're 27 now. You have been in this business for 4 years, but more seriously too. You've come leaps and bounds in that short space of time, which is really exciting. It's exciting to see you build a brand and a business that you're extremely passionate about, because I hope to do the same from my end, and I know plenty of people that are in the same boat. And I've got a lot of listeners that really love these chats, because not only is it, I guess, seeing the inside of someone's passion, but there's a lot of people in a similar boat where they have a creative outlet or something that they love and would love to do full time. So let's put the business development hat on for a minute and talk the actual business side of things. How much do you learn along the way? Were you quite business minded when you started, or did you seek advice from others who were in a business space?
Yeah. So something that I think about often, I went to an all girls school, and I don't think they ever spoke once about entrepreneurship or, business. I never ever had the idea that you could work for yourself, which I needed, because I literally, like, I'm a smart girl, but I can't be told what to do. And I always thought I had really bad work ethic. And then when I worked for myself, or I started working for myself, I realized that's not true. I can work twice as hard as anyone else when I'm doing something that I love. So anyway, I went into this business not knowing anything about business. I didn't even know how to register an ABN. I didn't even know what an ABN was, that you needed one. I think working at that startup, I learned a lot, the social media company, and my boss was really helpful. Like, he helped me with that sort of nitty gritty startup stuff, but it's all been learnt along the way. Initially, I would just call people, because I was doing graphic design on the side as well, like freelancing.
Yep.
I would speak to people who were business, people, and ask them questions, like things like tax. I had no idea about tax, and just anything, marketing, anything. And I think about 2 years ago, when I moved into, I got an office space, and I would share it. It was like a co-working space with, squash board shorts, the ones with all the like fruits on them, and
Yeah.
so Adam, he's a good friend of mine. He was in that office, and so I went into that office with them, and then there was a watch brand, and so it was all these young entrepreneurs. And I have picked up so much in the last 2 years. Like, it has been insane. Any question that I have, how to deal with the customer, what do I do with refunds? Like, I can just, speak to them and pick up from them, because their experiences, which has been good. Otherwise, I would have no idea what I'm doing, honestly.
And there's so many fears that come with, like, talk to me about was there anxiety and a little bit of fear around going into an office space? Because all of a sudden now the overheads, are there in front of you, and every day you walk in and you unlock that office door and you go, well, I got to make money today because, rent
Yeah,
doesn't pay itself. And
yeah, that wasn't really an issue for me. I had been working from home for the first, I'm lucky enough to have lived at home, like with parents, so I didn't
yeah,
need to pay rent for a long time. I decided to go into the office because it was more so I didn't want to be isolated at home. I
yeah,
got really weird. If you're by yourself all the time, you find that you don't want to hang out with other people ever. You just get really weird. So I just thought it would be better for me to kind of be around people. And if you
yeah,
go into a co-working space, the cost isn't high. It's not like you're paying $4,000 a month or whatever.
yeah,
You can get a little hot desk for $600 a month or whatever it is. So that
yeah.
was never really an issue, the overheads. But it
And
was,
you've got a team now?
maybe more yes, yeah. So we share. So I've got my marketing team who
Yeah.
have their own business, but we share an office. So they do all my marketing. There's 3 of them that I share the office with. And then I've got a warehouse as well with printers and framers, and then an assistant.
Awesome. And when did that all come to play? Like, at what stage in the business?
Like the last year, maybe 2 years, like that. It's just evolved over time.
Yeah. It's so exciting to see, because I think like I said, there's so many Aussies, especially young Aussies in this day and age. I think we understand the power that social media holds, and the power that, I'm a big Gary V fan, and Gary talks about how in this day and age, you can really make money doing whatever you love. You've just got to
Exactly.
find a way. And I think it's nice to hear that your creative outlet has become what feeds you and what pays the rent and what, creates a life for you every day. It's inspiring.
It's good. It's not like I made heaps of money at the start, but I was happy. So it didn't really bother me. And then the money comes, you just
Yeah.
got to give it to
That's the thing. Like, for me, a heap of people have asked me with this podcast because, I'm just at the point where I've got a few sponsors that are going to come on board, I think in the next week or two. And it's kind of like you go from, I went from settling on 2 or 3 houses a month to
Yeah.
making no money at all. And it's a huge financial sacrifice, but you just can't put a price on happiness.
No
Like,
way.
my mood, my energy, the way that I am, and feeling like every day I wake up and I've got like a life to live is so
Yeah,
exciting.
exactly. You want to be excited to get up and work, not oh, I have to go to work today.
And I feel like that energy is what brings around opportunity, because, if I was always a firm believer that even when I wasn't enjoying work, if I went there with a smile on my face and I'd done the right thing by people and worked hard, that kind of
Mhm.
energy is attractive. People want to be around that, and people want to give you opportunity. And, it's just, it's exciting to see you do well. So I'm excited for your future.
You're so nice. Thank you. I
No,
love
no worries
that.
at all. Talk to me about, obviously, plans are for the future. You want to maybe explore a few new avenues. Is there anything about Dom Gauci or Dom Gauci that I don't
Bossy,
know?
bossy.
Nice little
Okay.
save there.
Yeah.
And about you behind the scenes, like, who is the person behind the art, and sort of
Oh,
how do you identify yourself?
oh wow. I have no idea. In terms of what words to describe myself, is
Yeah.
that a answer?
What do you
Um,
like? What are you into?
what am I into? Okay, yeah, cool. I'm a massive personal development person. I am listening to podcasts nonstop. I'm also obsessed with health and wellness. I'll show you. I'm reading this book at the moment. Superhuman, Dave Asprey. Do you know
Dave
Bulletproof?
Asprey, Bulletproof Coffee. Yeah. Yeah, I know Dave.
So I'm very big into my health and wellness, and then just personal development, but growth. That's how I spend my time. When I think about it now, I'm like, oh shit, what do I actually do in my spare time? But that is it. That, and then at the moment, obviously trying to save up for a house, and
Just
that's my
hard in
goal.
Melbourne.
Yeah, it's hard. It is so hard, but I'll get there.
Do you think your plans are, let's go a little bit real estate for a second here. Bring back, bring back my past, my history. Do you think
Yeah.
that your plan would be to buy something and live in it in Melbourne, or would you buy something, rent it out and continue to live in Elwood?
Well, I don't know. It depends. Now that there's a man in the picture,
Yes.
there's like, we're trying to figure out the next step. So he's just bought in South Yarra.
Yeah, which is
And
a beautiful spot.
yeah, it's great. He I was going to go in on that, but he thinks that we should save separately, so that at 30 we can buy something bigger together. So
Yeah, I like
originally I was going to buy a 1-bedroom in Elwood, just because I was like, oh my God, that would be so cool to just buy property. Like, I'll just aim for whatever I can. But he's like, just wait, don't buy anything yet. We'll buy something bigger together later down the track. So
100%.
that is
It's
like
exciting.
objective right now, just saving.
And you reckon you can drag him across to Elwood, or?
Well, maybe. I think so. I'm pretty persuasive and I get what I want. So
That's good to
yes,
hear. If he's listening, take notes.
he knows. He knows. I've got the vision board, and everything on my vision board always comes true. So I'll just put a big Elwood right there, and
I like
he'll
it.
have.
I like it. Hey, who do you look for who do you look to for inspiration? Are there a few key figureheads within the art space, or even just within any other industry, that you think positively influence you and give you some inspiration?
In terms of like people that I listen to a lot, um, Tony Robbins. I love him. I love him so
Big
much.
Tony
So
Robbins fan.
yes, I'm such a Tony Robbins girl. So I love listening to him. I always listen to like Lewis Howes, who he interviews.
Lewis
Uh,
is amazing. I love his podcast.
he's really good. Also Ed Milet. I don't know if you know him.
No, I haven't heard of him.
He's really good. So those are the kind of personal development people I listen to, and they inspire me. But then I would say my biggest artist inspo is Dina Broadhurst. I know we're completely different, but like I just look up to her. I'm like, she is such a boss lady. She's just like pumping out these like unreal collage prints. She's got a really high price tag on them, and that is just amazing. Like what she's done for herself, it's crazy.
She's South African, isn't she? But she lives in maybe Double Bay.
I don't know. I don't know if she's South African. Maybe she is. I'm not sure. But like, I'm in awe of her all the time. I just bought my first one the other day.
I was going to say, were you with her?
No, I bought one finally. I've been waiting for like 3 years to buy one, and I finally did. Like,
It's expensive, isn't it?
I think, yeah, it was like, well, expensive to some. Like to me, I think $5,000 is a lot for a piece of art, but like worth it. Every it's amazing.
Which piece did you get?
I got the ladies in white. So I wanted the one that was like the girl and the guy kissing with the glitter on top. But my boyfriend was like, no, I want the ladies in waiting. So I let him on this occasion. I compromised. And so we got the ladies in waiting, and it's amazing. It looks really, really good. Really good.
Awesome. That is a classic piece of hers, isn't it?
Yeah, you know the one with the on the
with
face.
the flowers on the face, yeah. Oh,
yeah.
amazing. Well, hey, for everyone that's listening, where can they find you on social? And if they want to, I guess, can you give us a little scope on like maybe what's an entry level DG design piece that someone could, collect at home?
Yeah, so it's good for me. Like I've got a range of prices. So I start at $49 and go up to $6.99 on the website. So that depends on size and framing. Anything over A4, we get it professionally framed by and locally in Melbourne in my warehouse. So we've got two professional framers that do that. But then anything under that is just like we have pre-made frames that we can like pop it in. So if you're looking for something under $100, you can get the A4 prints, but anything bigger than that, it's all really high quality, professionally made and everything. So yeah, it's a pretty good price range, I think, for artwork,
Definitely.
especially brand.
Yeah, it lets people get in at an entry price, and it also
Yeah,
allows you to go a little bit extravagant and get a nice big piece that is going to be the
exactly.
masterpiece of your living room, or a nice space at home.
Exactly right. And then, yeah, you can just find me on Instagram. So I still haven't got DG Designs as a handle. I'm trying to get my marketing man to get that handle for me, but it's just Dom, so DOM, Gauci, GAUCI _designs, and you'll find me.
Amazing. Amazing. Now, I would highly recommend you go follow Dom because the art is incredible. Like I said, it was my go-to for the podcast art. I looked at a heap of different styles, but I just kept coming back to your work. So I want to thank you so much. And we finally, today, after I'm so picky, so I've probably done
No,
your head in the last couple of weeks,
I'm
but
so slow. Don't worry. It's been so hectic with all the custom work that's coming through. So I've been a bit slower, but we finally got there.
you've done an amazing job. I'm super excited. I'm actually going to launch that on Monday. So if you're listening to this on release day, what's today? Today's Friday, the 17th of July, and this episode will be out this afternoon and available to you all. So stay tuned for Monday, where we're going to drop that art. But Dom, thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate your time. And I just want to say the best of luck for the future ahead. I think you've got an amazing career ahead of you and you're doing so well for someone who's been in the business for 4 years. So congratulations.
Thanks so much for having me, and thanks for the kind words. It's really nice to hear.
No, not a problem at all. Hey, if you're listening, subscribe. That would be amazing. That makes my day every time I see a new subscription. Also, give it a 5-star rating because we've got a perfect review rate, 5 out of 5 stars every time on Apple Podcast app. And the reviews, they just warm my heart. So I always share them to Instagram because it means a lot and it helps the podcast get preferenced in the browsing section of the podcast app. So thank you so much. Big love to you all. Dom Gauci, you're an absolute legend.
See ya. Bye.